Many people nowadays perceive self-improvement as yet another popular cultural trend, follow it as something pretty conventional, perceive it as something that does not really matter, right? It's something cool, but it's not something deep or fundamental. But it is a lot more complex than that. What is the self-improvement? It's improving mentally and physically through expanding your knowledge, right? But what is the contemporary way of self-improvement? Reading, meditating, journaling, exercising, of course, and that's all. Here is the end of self-improvement. You just go through that cycle: meditate, exercise, journal, meditate, exercise, journal, meditate, exercise, journal. That's not the way we improve ourselves. And this is the reason why I'm about to record. Rather, I'm already recording this video for you, my friend. Because probably you're watching this video not only because you know me personally, but also because you desire improving yourself. In this video, we'll discuss what kind of self you have. What is your ego? The main source of meaning making. Is it developed enough or is it not? And based on that, you will continue your way of self-improvement. The information I'm about to tell you is based on the theory called ego development theory by Susanne Cook-Greuter. Perhaps later I'll just link down in the description a PDF file of her whole research, and there will be a precise description of every stage of development, which we will discuss in 2 parts of this video. So in this part, we will cover only the first 2 stages, or rather first 2 levels of self-development path, and on the next video we shall discuss the last 2 pieces of our large puzzle, which will help us to better understand ourselves and understand better our needs, in which way we have to improve. So, without further ado, let's start. And we'll start with the pre-conventional stage. The pre-conventional stage basically contains a childish thinking way. It includes people who are yet infant. So this type of personality is called symbiotic. They do not understand that there is other people, or there is even a me, there is even self. They have no idea about that yet. So it is only the beginning. Starting from the point when you were born, not born, you were born, the parents are already setting up. And as your infant age slides into, I don't know, age of 5, for instance, you become an impulsive person. Now, there is some understanding about self. There is me and mine. At this stage, we do not consider other people as individuals. We are the king. We are the omnipotent person in this world, or in this imaginary world, and also in reality. We think of ourselves as the most strong people. Indeed, it is a childish morality, but we can do nothing about it. Just develop through that stage, onto the next one, and then again, and through developing from that stage, we get to the stage of opportunist. Who is the opportunist? So opportunist takes opportunities. He does not think about them in a somewhat constructive manner. So this person does not evaluate pros and cons, does not evaluate risks and all that stuff. He just acts, all right? He's a person of an action, not of a thinking. That's why it is called the opportunist stage. And as the impulsive stage, it acts on impulses. So impulsive because it acts on impulses. I need to eat, I need to cry, I need mommy. An opportunist is about opportunities. Oh, get a new toy, ride a bicycle, all that stuff. These were 3 types of mentality which are located in the pre-conventional level, or the first level of our self-improvement, self-development journey. The childish stage, it could be called. After that, after all those years of childhood, when we went through school, and we yet are in a school, but gradually we are becoming more aware of ourselves as unique individuals. We become aware that, oh, I'm able to think independently. And that's why we move into a new world, a conventional world of TikTok, world of Instagram, social media, world of internet, politics, world of religion, culture. And we start with a type of personality which is vastly spread throughout the world, and it is called diplomat or conformist. So from the word itself, conformist, what kind of thoughts you get? But probably about conforming to some law or regulation, right? And basically, this is all about conformists. Conforming to laws and not frustrating the group, all right? They are pertinent to. At this stage, it is more of a adolescent years, probably. We evaluate group, all right? We have some friend zone where our best friends. We are dependent on them. We are dependent on their opinions on us, on what they like, on what they hate. Our whole thinking is dependent on the group. In this world, we see people as allies and foes, friends and enemies. If you are not with us, if you do not support our ideas, our ideology, then you are against us. If on the previous stages there was just, if you're against my desire, you're against me. In this case, a whole group is taken into consideration. Another interesting thing is that the whole self-esteem is based on others. Our moral duties, our moral values, they are all based upon a group, basically. We could think of some religious party when we think of conformist group. We could think about conservative people, liberals. They are just a bunch of people thinking in some particular stream, and there is no other way they could think about it. At least it seems to them that they are not capable of thinking otherwise. Because, it's a group thinking. It is deeply intertwined system. And mostly they try to look good, wear contemporary clothes. They are interested in improving oneself. So that's why probably they start to get more interested in self-improvement, but they try to avoid any conflicts with their group mates, because our group is the most valued thing at this stage. This level of development and two previous developmental stages are dependent on others. So it's obvious that impulsive and opportunist folks will depend on their parents or on someone who is nurturing them, encouraging them. Conformists also depend on others. They are prone to evaluate the group, the others in the group, and thus they are also more of a dependent people. Another thing about these three stages, the impulsive, opportunist, and conformist stages, is that feedback is not taken as something good. So critique will damage our mood dramatically. Any kind of feedback, actually. Oh, you got a new clothes. Oh, well, this part of your clothes looks really, really good, but that, why did you chose Jordans? Well, that will really frustrate conformists, that will really frustrate opportunists, and I'm not talking about even about impulsive people at this stage. So they'll be in pain, basically. They cannot stand any type of feedback, critique especially. And as you probably now understand that, as we will go further through this list of personalities, critique and feedback in general will be perceived a lot more adequately. And at some point we will just don't care about it. Like, we will value the feedback, but it will not affect us whatsoever. So keep that in mind as we slowly get to the expert stage. Now, another thing about conformists before that, about their leadership style. So sometimes conformists might be leaders. You might consider a leader of a, I don't know, some type of a sect or prejudiced party. So what he will do, what do you think? Of course, he will just say to his subordinates that do this, but don't do that. There are things that have to be done, and there are things that do not have to be done, and you have to obey to it. If you are our brother conformist, our brother diplomat. Well, that was expected about the leadership of a conformist. And thus, here comes the fear of a conformist. Obviously, they will fear of being casted out. Their main anxiety is about being abandoned. It's about being disrespected by members of his or her tribe. some type of group, or even family. So this is the main anxiety of these people. So now we're getting into the expert realm. And at this point, we get into adulthood. Experts are the real beginners of the self-improvement journey. So when I started my self-improvement journey, I thought that, oh, I got everything I gotta know. I know everything. I am the best. I need nothing else. So that's the way the expert thinks. He knows everything. He thinks that, well, I'm on the self-improvement path, It is something unusual for me. I'm changing my life. I'm striving towards success. I'm searching for that. I'm about to become a responsible adult. I'm about to achieve that goal I have set as a main purpose for myself, and so on and so forth. All the things along these lines. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's about the beginning of our journey of self-development, that we become the experts. Our mentality becomes that of an expert. And we get this mentality of David Goggins at this stage because, of course, self-improvement and David Goggins are two equal things. One and the same. And following his ideology, we just try to outdo ourselves. So does any expert. He tries to do better and more, work hard, play hard, and thus there is a drawback from that. They do not know their limits, and that could actually damage their health. They are not capable of prioritizing among other different tasks. And for this reason, they might end up in overburn stage where they have no desire basically for doing anything. They are exhausted, debilitated. They just want to lay down on a couch and sleep for a bit. Yeah. At this stage, we start to understand that we are different individuals. We start to broaden our frame. And I'll say one thing. The main purpose of self-improvement is about broadening your perspective. And so it is pertinent to the ego development theory. As we go deeper into that rabbit hole, the way of perceiving everything in our environment, it immensely expands. So at this stage, we see ourselves from the second point of perspective, right? It was second, right? Second or third. On the conventional stage, we develop this capability of viewing everything from the second and third perspectives, right? It's not that large, but pretty decent enough according to the modern type of personality, which is vastly spread throughout the population of Earth. And as we will go, as we will ascend, we shall see very vast viewing, basically. Or should I put it in that way? We shall see broader image, right? At expert stage, what happens is that we develop this second point of perspective. We understand that we are unique individuals. We have this self, right? We get the first impression about self only at that stage, at the expert stage. So, with that understanding, we become more preoccupied by the idea that we have to be unique. That's the reason why we actually embarked on this self-improvement journey. We want to be unique, and from that occurs a fear of being again the conformist, of becoming opportunist, of becoming impulsive person. We want to stay unique, we want to stay high, all right? And that's our main preoccupation. That's our main fear. We fear of getting back to this lower stage. And when we are not respected for our uniqueness, for our mindset, basically, we feel really bad, as if we were severely critiqued, as if there has been some diatribe done on us. As a leaders, experts are pragmatic people, so they're more practical. They have this clear mind, clear understanding of what should I do rather. And they have something similar, some attribute in their leadership similar to that of a conformist. If the conformist said, do this, but don't do that, experts now say, be like me, and everything will be good. Become similar to me. Become someone like an expert, and your life will feel a lot more better. And you'll be on heaven, basically, in their opinion. And they have this, unfortunately, narrow way of understanding other people. They consider other people as a weaker ones and a stronger ones. So, based on that, they might see some tinges of gray color in their environment, but basically what they see is black and white. as does the previous folks. So when they are coaching someone, they just give the basic solutions which may work out for themselves, but does not necessarily work for other people. And this is the main drawback of the stage. They do not consider others. They consider only themselves, their ways of thinking, their way of life, their way of living, rather. Also, there is a paradox. Not a paradox, but again, a drawback of some kind. When someone does express his or her opinion to the expert, he will agree on that opinion. He will say, yeah, you are probably right at this point, agree. But I have this opinion. This moment when he said yes to the opinion, but is called yes, but paradox. And it is widely prevalent among us. Even sometimes I notice this paradox in myself, and we have this propensity to impose our ideas on others. And experts, too, are very satisfied with proposing their ideas or adding their idea to the idea of other person. So this is the only stage which has this, won't call it inadequacy, but a bad characteristic, egotistic characteristic, which might really make their relationships with other people much worse, because they might not feel valued enough. Even thought this word yes will somehow gratify those people, but the addition will allay the effect of their opinion. And that was the expert. It was the second level of second type of mentality, rather, on the conventional stage. And now there is a more prudent mentality, which is called achiever stage. So it's my personal favorite because I somehow fall into this category. I prefer to sit on this category, even thought I might occasionally go up on this ladder of some kind and down occasionally to the expert level. When I'm usually too exhausted, I have the really bad comprehension of surrounding environment, but that's a whole nother story. Achiever. Who is the achiever? Achievers are independent adults. They are now how to say that? Let's put it in that way. They have spent years on self-improvement, and now they have a lot more understanding about how should one interact in reality. They are more interested, in fact, in our psychology, in why we think so, why our ego acts in this way. They become basically aware of self, as does the expert, and what they want to do is to really get the whole picture, the whole understanding of the functions that our self and our ego has. For the self-improvement, they are mostly considering three types of the vital skills they have to have. These are learning, effort, and feedback. These three skills are considered to be vital skills at this stage. Learning, effort, and feedback. So this is the first stage. This is the first type of mentality which accepts feedback, be it critique or not critique. A critique actually now is perceived as something that has to be made in order to develop, something that has to be perceived, something that has to be valued in order to develop in our mind, in our mentality. And these people are logically thinking people, so they very much value the scientific theories, methods of examination. They, of course, value psychology. They start to explore the world of self through books on psychology, through different theories about our psychology, about our cognitive abilities, about our cognitive deficiencies. All that stuff is explored and reviewed when one becomes an achiever. They even have this capability called aboutism. What does that mean? They have capability of learning complex theories. Give them, I don't know, a complex dissection of Newton's formula of, I don't know, any formula of Newton, basically. The thorough dissection of how did they manage to find formula about a force, about, I don't know, density, all that stuff. They will go through these events which are described on that paper, grasp the idea of the theory, and keep that in mind. Or give them another research, for instance, of Sigmund Freud on his patients who were traumatized in their childhood, they will go through the whole information, they will learn something new about the self, about our psychology, but they will not apply the information they got on their life. They will not integrate the knowledge into their life. They understand the information on deep level because they have gone through the level of expert. So they have this level of expertise, intellectual abilities. They understand that this thing means that, X means Y, apple means, I don't know, red, all that stuff. They understand it precisely. And they have the basic question somewhat in their mind, which is that necessary to integrate in my life, into my life rather? Does the information which I have obtained essential for my existence? Does it need to be implemented? They think about it. And this way of thinking equals to prioritizing. When experts did not really prioritize what tasks they should mostly focus on, achievers now are capable of prioritizing among different tasks. And thus save up some energy. And after all, not kill themselves through burnout or a large amount of stress. So, the main capability, the new capability of achiever is prioritization among a large array of tasks, assignments, and all that stuff. Achieving different goals is the main fuel for an achiever. Basically, it is obvious, isn't it, that the purpose of an achiever is to achieve and thus be happy that one have achieved something. And without achieving goals, without succeeding at those goals, achievers might get really, really self-critical. They are severe self-critics. When they do not achieve a particular goal, or when they fail to achieve a particular goal, they'll instantly go into that David Goggins mode when they just bark on themselves that you are a piece of shit. Why didn't you manage to achieve that goal? Why did you do that? Why did you fail? You are nothing. You are weak because you didn't achieve that. And basically, this whole conversation might be very destructive, So a bit of a self-compassion is needed at that stage, but this capability will be unlocked only on a later mentalities. So they might somehow damage their health, mental health through self-criticism, but mostly, they might use that negative information, or rather negative energy, as a fuel for something positive. It is not fully mastered at this stage. It'll be mastered at the stage of a strategist. Oops, there is an ad. I just turned on this brown noise for concentration. Yeah, video has ended probably, but anyway, let's get back. So what I was saying is that at a stage of strategist, which is at the post-conventional level, this capability of transmuting the negative energy into something positive will be unlocked. But at the achiever stage, it only is inchoate. So it just starts to germinate, so to say. It just starts to unlock. Another drawback, rather, of this stage is that they lack empathy. They lack empathy in which way? They are not yet capable of keeping in mind the idea about other selves, about the previous types of mentality, that there is an expert, that there is an opportunist, that there is impulsive people around them. And for this reason, their counseling, their leadership style might not be as good, but yet it has a lot of cool stuff, so to say. Like, these people, achievers, are the first type of people who, in this theory, evaluate others. They deeply are concerned on helping others. They have this purpose of creating or making some sort of a contribution that will not only benefit themselves, but first of all, it will benefit others. They wish everything good for people who surround them. And for this reason, there is not a 0% empathy, but still, it has to be rehearsed, or rather hashed out, in order to be at its peak, at its greatest point. Finally, they get rid of the paradox of yes, but. So they just listen to the person they're communicating with, who is expressing some sort of opinion, and they are constructively agreeing on that and are not making any additions to that. So they are more humble in this sense. They are capable of subduing their ego, their desire to, impose their ideas on others. This is another positive side of their leadership. Cooperation with others is another thing. Of course, when you evaluate others, you will evaluate also communicating with them, interacting with them. When experts are not really capable in working in the group manner, they are not capable of doing a collective job. They are more of a lonely wolves, They like doing everything by themselves. Thus, they are experts, And at this stage, we get rid of that barricade, or call it however you want. Yeah. Achievers are really capable in adapting towards different atmospheres, group in which they are has. So send them into a group of people who are more hardworking rather than lazy, that will enjoy it. They will adapt to it. They will work even harder. Send them to a less hardworking group. They will still adapt to that group and help them in some way to become better. Because they value other people a lot more. And basically, interaction with others makes their life a lot better and a lot vibrant. And of course, because they are more independent adults, they have independent thinking. They start to question the ideas, the beliefs their family perhaps might have imposed on them. They apply the same method of broadening the frame to their subordinates when it comes to leadership. They want to nourish independent people in them. They don't just want a blind conformist, basically, who just does everything an achiever says. They want independent people who are capable of following some rules, who are capable of achieving goals, who are capable of doing good work, good job, but at the same time who are independent, who are capable of thinking independently, who are capable of thinking out of box, so to say. And of course, they think that if people were more like them, if there were more people like achievers, life would have been a lot more easier. The world as a whole would have been better. Because of this independency, they have a capability or propensity to break rules when it's needed. Thus, this might be also added to their particular independence independent characteristics, where they are independently thinking, they are questioning the entrenched ideas, and of course, by questioning those, they are ready to break the rules if needed. And this is the first type of person who is ready to break the rule. Experts do not really prefer breaking rules, but at this stage, one becomes more courageous, more valiant, more gallant, and this brings on a propensity to question the rules and to break them in some case when it's not really a prolific rule and it has to be somehow changed. They value their independence thus, and thus they afraid of becoming. Who do you think they are afraid of becoming? Of course, they afraid of becoming conformists. They're afraid of losing their independence. They fear of losing their capability to control everything. Of course, when they're out of control, they feel that something threatening has occurred. I have lost the control over the whole system. Something bad will happen because they are just got used to that systematic thinking from the previous stage. An expert who is a more pragmatic, practical person. Thus, they fear of losing control and becoming, as a result, a slave, of blindly obeying to a superior, aka conformist. Nobody will want that, right? Conformists themselves probably do not wish doing so, but unfortunately they are not aware of them being virtually slaves who serve some type of group, not the others, not even oneself. But ultimately, all these types of mentality, they have to exist. Without them, the balance, the tranquility, our days mostly consist of currently, it'll be lost without those mentalities. This understanding of how essential it is to have all previous stages and all later stages will be discussed in the next video along with other attributes of people in a post-conventional level, or the third level of self-improvement. For now, it is all, probably. Yeah. It is all on the conventional and on pre-conventional and conventional stages. So I hope to see your comments on who do you think you are out of this list of impulsive, opportunist, conformist, expert, and achiever. Who do you consider yourself to be? And based on the answer, you will understand what you have to do. But for now, you just have to keep in mind that the whole development, the self-improvement, it's all about broadening one's perspective, broadening one's knowledge. It's not just sitting at one point doing the same thing every day, going through this cycle throughout your life, not getting anything. The self-improvement is all about improving the self, not the quality of the work you're doing. So, hope I helped you to better understand what it is, the self-improvement, and I'll see you in the next video, where we will discuss the post-conventional stage and the last unitive stage.